absolutely.
Darren, football can change so quickly. 2 wins in a week. Does it feel like your team are in form again?
Yeah, I think even the 2 games before that were very tight. I think what I really think at the moment is I think for an hour, either side, or one half, 15 minutes either side, I think we're a good side. I think we have our periods where we can't maintain our standards, but as you know, it's a new team and it's a very young team, and I think that's easy to understand that we can't do it quite for the duration yet. But based on Tuesday night, we're certainly getting closer. But yeah, I think the 2 games before the 2 wins, tight games, and the EC one in particular, was particularly a struggle because of the quality of the pitch. I mean, Dave from Hartlepool went there Tuesday night, and he mentioned it 4 times in his post-match interview, the quality of the pitch, and it just makes everything such a leveler. And unless it's your base and something you're used to, it makes it very difficult. But the two wins have been good. We played some good football in the 2 games. Probably played a little bit more football than we did in the 2 previous ones. And the conditions suited that. The opponent suited that, and we're pleased with the 2 wins.
You are as close to the playoffs as relegation zone now as we approach the second half of the season. So when does attention turn to overtaking those 8 or so other teams above you in the race for the playoff spots?
I think that differs from manager to manager. I never look at the league table. I didn't last year. Never did last year. Didn't before. Never did when I was a youth team coach. Never looked at the league table. Never looked at draws. Never looked at youth cup draws or FA Cup draws or trophy draws. Just don't interest me. Just doesn't interest me. Just the next game. The next game is our league table. The next game is our target. The next game is. You're only 1 game away, aren't you? As a manager, you're only ever 1 game away from being crucified or, put down or critiqued. So might as well just worry about the next game. But we know the next game's going to be a toughie.
It certainly is, and that the game on Saturday signals the halfway point of the season. But going back to that, does the result? Yeah, we're halfway through on Saturday. So does the result of that game sort of give a clue as to where Yeovil you think will be fighting for the rest of the year?
No, I don't think it's that. I just think if this is halfway, imagine the lines in my head by the end of this season. Gee, it's been the longest half ever. No, look, I think we've moved 6 or 7 places in the last 8 weeks. I think that's good enough. We haven't won all those games. It's not like we've won. We've won a couple, lost a couple, won a couple, lost a couple. So I think we're a progressive side. As long as we climb the ladder slowly, we've got to be there at the end. That's all we've got to do. We've got to be there at the end. We ain't got to be there in March. We haven't even got to be there in April, but we've got to be there at the end. And that's always been our target. It hasn't kind of formulated or be getting there at the end. I think if people know anything about me now, is that I do like a good old-fashioned scrap and a roll your sleeves up, and we've certainly done that in the last 8-9 weeks. I think we've been terrific. Our winning mentality, has been brilliant, and I've got to say it's come from team selections, and really surprising performances from young players, from players that are probably not renowned for certain things. All of a sudden they've come to the fore with that, and that's been the really pleasing thing. It's been a real different year. I almost feel like I'm back in development this year. I almost feel like I'm coaching to develop players again. Last year was very different, of course, because of the seniority of the group. It was all about keeping them grounded and managing them appropriately. This year's felt a little bit more like my past in development, coaching lots of young players, teaching them, trying to develop them, lots of analysis, lots of reflection, lots of planning, lots of goal setting, all of those things that are hugely important for young players. I feel like that's been probably the main bulk of my time this year.
And have you enjoyed doing that? Is that something you?
The best job at any 18 job, any foot, the best job's the under 18 job. Having lads that just come out of school, they've been part-time footballers, they come into full-time football. Their eyes are enormous. They see the world, and they're so innocent, and they look at it as this unbelievable time in their life, opportunity, ambition, fearlessness. It's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And I enjoy that part. And in particular, I've spoken a lot about him, and he's played well at times, and he's played poorly at times, which he knows. But people like Alex Bradley, he's learning to play fullback really from scratch at 21 years old, and I really love working with Alex. Now, Tom Knowles came here as a chalk on your heels, out and out winger, and and I call him Tom Ince at the minute because all he does is foul people and get booked. But his development in that physical side of the game has been excellent, and he's going through a developing period. But Max Hunt's been great to work with. A lot of them have. Nurfield, all of those. Joe Quigley's still a young player, 23. It's he's good fun to work with as well. So yeah, no, it's been really enjoyable coming out of it. But it's been enjoyable. I thought it was really enjoyable seeing how strong they were Tuesday night. Seeing these young players, these young players that are not normally accustomed to the physical demand and the confrontation that comes with being a starter or a senior player. I loved watching them go through that battle Tuesday night. I thought it was fascinating.
Hartlepool next up. They've not had a Saturday game for a few weeks now with the bad weather. Can you empathise with that? Momentum?
No, I don't think a Saturday off stop-starts you. I think 10 days off with COVID, 10 days back and then 10 days off I think that's a little bit more punishing because of the rules around isolation and things like that. But I don't think we've had a game called off for the weather this year. But we've certainly had our breaks with the illnesses and isolating from the illness. But obviously was one of the reasons behind that at one point. But it's no, I don't think a Saturday off for bad weather is too disruptive.
Billy Sass-Davies came off in midweek. He's performed well in the few games since he arrived. How is he doing?
I think he's fine. Yeah, I think he's fine. I think it was a dead leg and a dead backside, dead bum. He was just limping around, and I've got to be honest, he was limping around so much. He got on my nerves after a couple of minutes. So I made the decision. He probably could have carried on, but they had good athleticism in forward areas, and the penalty come through that athleticism. So I thought Albie was the perfect solution to the problem, irregardless of one of their Billy or Max's fitness levels. And he limped around so much. I don't like people limping around. Just come off or get through it, but stop limping around. And I thought Albie was perfect. I thought he was absolutely brilliant when he went back there.
And finally, we're still yet to hear from the National League about any resolutions to the season. Have you received any word yet as a club? And we assume as well that your position hasn't changed on the matter.
I don't know our position on the matter. That's nothing to do with me. My job's to coach and manage the first team. That's where I stop all of the political aspects and the dilemmas around this are for the business owner. They're not for me. It's not my money. I don't pay people out of my bank account, so I haven't got a right to an opinion. I believe I don't want one either. I'm the football manager. He, as far as I know, Scott is pretty encouraged that we'll continue. He's never given me any other doubt. I think it's going to be tight. I really do. I don't really know how some of the other clubs are going to go after the vote. So, for example, we've all seen Dover have furloughed people, or it's been reported they've furloughed people, their staff and players. What do? Are they filled in the under-19s? I don't know. Are they going to forfeit games? I don't know. So I think, yeah, for me, that's going to be the interesting thing. If it was carte blanche, we're going to stop, then everyone stops. It's pretty easy. But if we vote to continue and the teams that have voted to stop go down that route, then that's obviously going to get quite messy.
Okay, Darren, thanks very much. Good luck on Saturday.
Thank you.
Morning, Darren.
Hi, how are you? Afternoon. Very well, thank you.
Afternoon, yeah. I get it wrong every time, I do it deliberately now, just to wind you up. The game on Tuesday night seemed at half-time as though everything was going wonderfully well, 3-0 up and sailing. And then gradually they pulled a goal back, and then they pulled another goal back.
Yeah.
Would you say that was down to sort of game management and the fact that you had good game management, that you saw it through to the end and they didn't get the third goal and you came away with 3 points?
I thought it wasn't gradual, was it? It was pretty immediate. I mean, we literally got in our seats and ball got spanning behind, and then he gets worked back across the box and they have a shot. I mean, the referee, I think I reported this on Tuesday, but the referee actually went up to the players during and after the game. I think Carl Dickinson as the captain, and actually held his hands up and said, I think I've got it wrong. I think I've made the decision far too quickly. I didn't have a good enough view. Carl was adamant it hit him in the stomach. I mean, not even on like a shoulder or a hip or a rib, where you can obviously get, everyone can make that mistake. And I thought from my position, which was obviously in the back of the stand, but it was right on the same angle as the referee, I couldn't see through the congestion from an elevated position. So I did think to myself at the time, how's that kind of that decision come to if you can see it? But I've got to say to the referee, and we all know in recent weeks I've had my interactions with referees, and obviously we saw the big interaction last night with Ipswich. As a manager, as a player, the humility the ref showed afterwards. Darren, I really think I got the penalty wrong. Made decision too quickly. Same thing he said to Carl. I just said, listen, that's where the respect has to come from. We make mistakes. We make mistakes on a pretty regular basis as players and coaches. But if all officials can behave in the manner that gentleman behaved, I've got no problem with that. Human error is human error. We're all subject to that. But I just love this humility. So if he doesn't give the penalty and you don't concede after 2 minutes, no problem. They didn't really open us up from open play. I mean, it wasn't like we were really stretched. Balls were coming into the forwards' feet every now and then, but they were always coming into the forwards' feet where he was facing his own goal. And then they scored, and I think it was the 75th, 76th minute. Sam, is that right? Sam?
Is 77th.
Anyway, 77th minute. So, to go from 47 to 77, yes, okay. It was a decent game management. But what I liked is with that 13 minutes plus the 5 minutes added time, so with the 18 minutes remaining, I just like the way they dug in. And they got to do that. Every now and then you got to pick up a shovel and a spade and a fork, and you got to dig. You got to dig in. It's part of any competitive situation in sport, or any sort of moment of difficulty in life. So I liked it. I really liked the way they rolled their sleeves up. Reece Murphy's work ethic was just quite outstanding. Joe Quigley when he come on, brilliant. Dagnall, great experience, desire. So you got to dig in. Alex Bradley, Hunty, they all really dug in deep. And apart from the other chance with the set piece, which I thought was their best chance all game, where the lad hit the bar, was another set piece scenario. It was I thought the half was quite comfortable. Take away the penalty decision. It's 3-1 on 77 minutes, and no one's really flapping around, are they? So, but look, it is nerve-wracking. I can't say I sat in the back of the stand with me legs folded and my arms crossed, and chuckling away quite calmly. I was ranting, but that's the beauty of it.
So is that much of a new experience for you, sat at the back of the stand? I suppose it must be, because I haven't seen you do it before.
No, well, look, I know I'm a certain character, and I know I know the way I am and how competitive I am and passionate, I'd like to say, but I've been sent off twice in 18 years, so it's not I'm not a serial offender in terms of that, but I even now I go back to the decision to send me off, and they live in the world of their own, most of these people. So, and as we've seen, the other night, it's a lot of the time it can be foreseen as one rule for one and another rule for another, which I don't think benefits anyone.
Last week we had a slight discussion. Well, I didn't, but Paul did with you about yellow cards and position of the team in that. You inferred that you didn't think it was that bad, because obviously it inferred that we were trying, we were getting stuck in. There was a few yellow cards flying around again on Tuesday night, but I'll take it from that that's, as far as you're concerned, you're happy with that, because we are getting stuck in, and and the results are coming with it.
Well, no one asked last year, and we was in the same position. We still had the same amount of yellow cards. We were still bottom of the yellow card table, or whatever they call it, fair play table. No one asked me last year. Everyone said last year, because they relate second, third, fourth, fifth in the league, lots of yellow cards. Ooh, they're a fighting team. They're a competitive team. They really put it in. They really compete. Now all of a sudden, the fair play table's being called into question. You look at the people that are getting yellow carded. The ones I don't like are the dissent ones, because there's no need for it. There is no need for it, and especially the way we play and the way I try and encourage people to play. We do want to tackle. We do want to force errors. We do want to put people under pressure, and that means sometimes treading on the line and tiptoeing over it from time to time. And then you look at the people getting booked. It's Alex Bradley. He's going to do this probably in this way for the first time in his life. Worthy, Tom Knowles. Tom Knowles gets booked every warm-up at the moment. Josh Nerfield. These are young people learning a completely different side of the game. Josh Nerfield and Tom Knowles are not destructive players, either in their education from being a young player to now, or in their nature. And all of a sudden, they've got to defend in a way that says, no, when you go out there, you've got to tackle. You've got to tackle. You're not going out there and standing up. You're going there and tackling. And they're getting better at it. And they are getting better at it. I mean, Knowlesy and Josh, with their speed can be seen in so many different ways. But for me, one of the great purposes of having lots of speed is you can get to the ball quicker than anyone else. And that's what we saw. You look at Josh's run for the penalty. Josh Murtagh, 6'3", 34 years old, he goes shoulder to shoulder with Murtagh and puts him on the floor. Legitimately, he wouldn't have done that 4 weeks ago. He'd have kind of slowed down, waited for Murtagh to come in front. No, he's got an aggression in him now, and he's playing with purpose. And then he goes and beats the man, gets the penalty, and we go 2-0 up. No different, but that's quite easily a scenario where he gets his timing wrong. He gets to the line and he tiptoes over it. But I'm comfortable with that. I'm not comfortable with dissent. I'm really not. Mr. Lee and Mr. Dickinson know my thoughts on that. But when people are trying to put their foot in and tackle, and they're not bad tackles. I mean, Lee Stockport, that was callous, of course, but these little booking ones, they're not bad tackles. They're just mistimed.
But by and large, as a game, loads of positives came out of that. Didn't you feel on Tuesday night?
Yeah, well, I thought we passed the ball as well as we've done for months. Months, 3 or 4 months at least. And that comes from practice. That comes from belief. Now, the big message I gave to them at half time on Saturday against Altrincham was, you can believe a little bit more in yourself. You can step yourself forward into the situation a little bit quicker. You can play with a lot more purpose and confidence. I'll back you. I'm the one who takes the sting for your mistakes. Don't worry about it. Just keep going, and ask yourself for more and ask yourself for better. What I liked about the start of the game Saturday is that they started in the manner in which they finished on. What I liked about the start of Tuesday was they started in the manner that they finished on Saturday. They started with real positivity. Everyone wanted to take the ball. Everyone wanted to get on the ball. We had some nice little passages of play. It does make it easier that Saturday we play on our pitch isn't great this year, but it's a lot better than most. And Borehamwood's pitch is as good as they come. So that helps, of course. But what I liked about it, everyone wanted to get on the ball. Everyone wanted to play. And that just comes from practice, time, development, belief, form, all of those things. But really pleased with them Tuesday. And I was as pleased with their grit and determination in the second half as I was with their flow and their momentum that they built in possession first half. So, no, good performance. And we'll keep working with these young ones and the senior ones. I thought Ruben was at his best Tuesday. Murphy looked fitter than ever. Some real good, strong performances. Skendi took less touches, moved the ball quicker, looked far more professional. All of these things, they're all things that we're trying to work on day in, day out, and we're starting to see maybe a little bit of fruit of that labour. But no, pleased with them. Last 8 weeks, how can I not be pleased with them? 7-8 places in the table, moved up, and we're creeping.
Long trip to Hartlepool on Saturday, which I expect you could do without, but there you go. Nice long bus trip. I remember we flew up there once when Yeovil were in the whatever league, which was good, really. But any
I'd have liked to have seen that budget.
Yeah. Any updates on the injury front, Darren?
No real change. I don't think we carried any injuries from Tuesday. Billy obviously had his dead leg, but if he misses Saturday for a dead bum, then I'd be very, maybe even disappointed, very surprised at least. Lee Collins comes out of isolation on Sunday. His wife has unfortunately tested positive for COVID some time back. So he comes out Sunday, so he'll be available for Tuesday's squad. And he would have served his suspension. Matty Worthington obviously came back into the squad on Tuesday. He'll be available again, obviously, for Saturday. Charlie won't be back. Wilkinson won't be back. Lawson, no. Staunton, no. Sanupe is training again, but it might be a bit early Saturday.
Finally, for me, I don't know if you're aware of it, but on the Yeovil website, where it's got the story of your interview with BBC Somerset, at the bottom of it, there's a load of photographs of various other interviews you did. But one of them, and I don't quite understand why, there's a picture of Ronnie and Reggie Cray there. Now, is there any significance in that?
I don't know. Sam?
I honestly have absolutely no idea, but I'm going to have a look at that in a minute.
Good film, though.
Perhaps, yeah.
Great
exactly.
film. Legend. I mean, Tom Hardy. You could, if you're saying I look a little bit like Tom Hardy, I'm delighted. If you're saying I look like Ronnie Craig, then you're going to have a tear up. But
no, I wasn't saying you look like him. More the fact that they
hold
were
on,
just
hold
there.
on a minute. Let me help you out. Let me help you out. There you go. That's Ronnie.
Yeah.
That's Reggie.
Anyway, best of luck Saturday, Darren. Hope for another 3 points.
Thanks, Jay.
Aaron, do you mind if I ask you a couple now?
No, listen, I'm far more fun than Lowy, so you've got as much time as you like.
Ruben Reid's obviously somebody that I've seen a lot in his many times at Argyle over the years. I've lost count of how many spells he had at Argyle, but you were talking earlier on about the young players that you're working with. He's 32 now, I see. I mean, is he somebody that you can use, or the players can look to as a sort of a role model, as someone, that they can aspire to copy in some ways?
Listen, I've not known Ruben for long, but we We've had he's had lots of players that he's played with during his time that have played with me, and that's how Ruben and I kind of first met through an ex-player of mine, an ex-apprentice at Plymouth, Scotty Laird. He introduced me to Ruben, and Ruben's always been a player that scored against my Stevenage side. I remember he handballed one in for Exeter one week against us, and cheating, so and so. But he's been absolutely different class for us, Chris. Absolutely brilliant for the dressing room. He's a different character. He's a very, very serious professional. I think Ruben, in his career, can be perceived as someone completely different to who he is. I really like working with him. He's a straight talker. He doesn't really sort of beat around the bush. He's a wonderful player for us. I don't care what anyone else needs him for or thinks of him. And there was a moment on Tuesday night where I think probably just after the free kick, we had a stoppage in play. And Ruben actually got the team together with Cole Dickinson on the pitch. Normally the manager would wave him over. I'm obviously in the stand. Ruben and Carl got everyone together and I could see by their body language, they were just saying, calm down. This is fine. This is what it's about. We'll get through it. Let's dig in. Let's work hard. So on and so forth. I think about a minute later, I took him off, unfortunately. But I thought that having the presence of mind under pressure, it doesn't come from age. It comes from life experience. And he's got them scars of being a footballer. He's got, he's been in lots and lots of games and seen them out, and obviously gone on to win them and be a huge part in them. But I thought it was a really nice moment. I've not seen senior players do that for years, maybe even 10 years. Maybe last time I saw it was at Brentford, when I worked at Brentford. But I thought it was a really, really big kind of message he sent with Carl about their personalities and their experience. So he's been fabulous for us. He needed a goal. By his own admission, he needed a goal. And I really like working with him. Like I said, we're just very, very straight with each other. We don't always agree. I don't like people who do always agree. I certainly don't always agree with anyone. But no, he's been brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
I was going to ask you about him getting his first goal for you of his latest spell with Yeovil. I mean, any striker thrives on goals. Now, he's had times in his career where he scored lots of goals and periods where he hasn't scored many, but still been important to his team.
Absolutely.
But it must be good to get that first goal, albeit from the penalty spot, but they all count. Get that first goal. Do you see him building from that now?
Yeah, of course. I think you've always got to get that one off your back, haven't you? I mean, it's just human. I remember when we signed Reece Murphy a year ago, when I first joined, I remember he scored about 1,000 goals in pre-season. And then it took him 4 games in to get his first goal, and I think as that time builds, of course, pressure builds. It was funny. It's funny because after the game, he said to me, Gaff, that's my first shot in 5 games. I said, it's not Ruben, but it is the only one that's reached the goal. Which I think, listen, I hope he likes that side of me, but if he don't, tough. But it was a nice exchange of character of mine. And what was important, I thought, in that question, Chris, was that his contribution, even when he doesn't score. I mean, he's a wonderful platform to play off. I mean, he's one of the best I've worked with in terms of his hold-up play and his ability to relieve pressure from defenders, coming in hard and fast behind him. So I think he's a wonderful, wonderful footballer, and I like his character. I really like his character. Some people, I think, have probably questioned that over his career, but I've got no evidence to kind of suggest that he's anything but very hard-working, very professional, and he's going to be a really good player for us. Really, this year. Next year, he's going to be a good player. And when we get into the Football League, he's the type of standard of player that we know is going to help us springboard ourselves, into hopefully to the top of League Two.
Yeah, he's definitely proven. There's no doubt about that.
Absolutely.
Just looking at the last couple of games, Darren, that's 5 goals in 2 games, all scored by strikers. And Paul mentioned that might have been a bit of an issue before. You know, it's not just Rubin, but Murphy and Dagnall and Nerfell all scoring goals. How is that? Because strikers win you, don't they?
Yeah, well, you miss Quigley there. Quigley and Murphy kind of sharing the top of our charts, goal scoring charts. And the great thing about our 4 strikers, all very, very different, all in very different stages of their career. You know, when one of the ones that I've used least is Dagnall, but let me tell you, no one has a bigger influence on our play and our sort of environment than Chris Dagnall. Brilliant professional footballer, absolutely brilliant, great character, big character, quite a serious character a lot of the time. Has made a massive difference since he rejoined us, huge difference. Just the way he is around the place, the way he is with other players. But no, it's important. Last year we always had a centre forward in form. You know, I think we had Murphy with 18 when it stopped in March. We had Doofus on 17. So we always had, even if Murphy was injured, Doofus was in form. And if Doofus was injured, Murphy was always in form. So we always had that. You know, it's been a big problem for us this year, getting those goals. But now we've got the 4 that we want. After the 2 previous games, before the 2 wins, I did sit the 4 down and explain to them that with the quality and experience we have in that department, I don't expect to have to address taking chances. I don't think I should have to address them not being in the right positions. They're all very, very capable centre forwards, and they need to get the job done. And to know that the forwards have scored a lot of those goals is really, really pleasing. But none more so than Dagnall's header Saturday. I just thought it typifies him. Just brilliant pro, absolutely brilliant pro.
Darren, thank you very much for your time. Safe trip to Hartlepool and good luck.